For more content like this, log on to gibbopresents.com.
It's Gibbo, and right now I'm once again joined by Miami's Prime Minister, Walshy Fire. How are you?
I'm good, my brother. I'm good.
The Chicken and Dumplin Riddim from yourself and Kobayashi is out right now. The title track from Bunji Garlin was originally released in March as a single. Did you always intend to voice other artists on the rhythm as well?
Yeah, from the jump, from the very start. It just was actually a plan to release a single and make everyone think it was just a single and not a rhythm. So we never mentioned rhythm. We never hinted to a rhythm. So when we got the Sean Paul and the Shaggy and the Beanie Man songs, we had them at the same time that we had the Bunji Garlin. It was all happening at the same time. But we figured for the first time in maybe a long time, this would be a great marketing plan to actually drop the title track for the rhythm first, and then kind of like surprise, there's a whole rhythm behind it. And it's worked so far, man. A lot of people have hit me up like, man, I had no clue. The Sean Paul, the Shaggy, the Denzel White on the rhythm have all gotten huge response and have been picked up a lot on many radio stations. So yeah, that was actually the plan from the start, to do a rhythm.
I love the description of the rhythm, so I'm going to read it out in case people have not read it themselves. The full-length rhythm compilation Chicken and Dumplin Various Artists is original dancehall maxi taxi style, when mixtapes blared from the speakers of the minibus and everyone on the road had speakers rattling in their trunk and wore clocks on their feet, fades in their hair as the speakers booms with the latest rhythms and mixes. Did you set out to make a rhythm to fit this description, or is this just what comes to mind when you hear the rhythm?
The latter. It's not until you heard the rhythm that you're like, yo, this reminds me of when I used to be in a bus in Jamaica. In Jamaica they call them quarter million. In Trinidad they call maxi taxi. I mean, anyone out there who's even put speakers in their car. And nobody really does that anymore. But if you remember when that was popping, when that was like, take out the back seat or take out everything out the trunk and just completely fill that with speakers. That's the vibe and the energy that the rhythm gives when, when we heard it, when the finished product came out. So that description fits, man. It reminds me of the 90s. And also we really like going against what I consider what's happening right now. And what's happening right now is much more serious music, a lot more music that carries a more serious tone and melody to it. And this rhythm's fun. This rhythm is 100% fun. So, it's a nod to the Dave Kellys and the Tony Kellys who had these summer rhythms that were just about fun, just about having a good time, just about dancing. That's exactly what this rhythm is. It's not anything else. It's not a gunman song on the rhythm. There's not nothing else. It's strictly fun. So it's a nod to those guys. And I might stay in this lane with them kind of rhythms for a while and just keep giving people fun stuff, to kind of go against what's happening and maybe offer a little bit of a balance.
Talk me through your process for deciding which artist to voice on the rhythm.
Yeah, just reach out, man. Just reach out. Every single one of the artists is a phone call away. Shaggy was the only one that I was surprised when he got the rhythm. Shout out to Tarantula. Tarantula wrote that song that Shaggy performs. Him and Tarantula wrote the song together. And, I sent the rhythm to Tarantula. And that's when Tarantula actually did a song on the rhythm as well, but we never got around to finishing it. And but he did end up doing a song for Shaggy on the rhythm. Kobayashi and Shaggy are pretty close. And then Shaggy called Tarantula and was like, yo, write that tune for it. And they collaborated on that. So everybody was just a phone call away, just literally a phone call away. Send the rhythm, boom, bam, send forward. Big up to Beanie Man, big up to Blue, Beanie Man's management. And he definitely helped facilitate getting Beanie Man on the rhythm. I mean, it was just a blessed thing. White man is from Africa. He's from Nigeria. That also was just a phone call. I wanted an African artist on the rhythm. So, yeah, man, it's super easy. Actually, to be honest with you, it was actually really easy.
A couple of the names on the rhythm people may not be too familiar with. White Man, who you just mentioned, and Denzel White, who you mentioned earlier on. Explain why in particular you picked these two artists to include.
All right, well, White Man, I've followed him for a while. White Man is similar to like Yellow Man and Purple Man. He's an albino, and I've been watching him for a little while now and seeing how his career is moving. And when we connected, I was just like, yo, I got a rhythm. And he actually crushed it. He actually really killed it with a song called From the Ghetto. Then Denzel White, you can kind of say Denzel White is like my artist. He's like my singer. And I think it's about time that we get that Wayne Wonder vibe back, and I'm not comparing him to Wayne Wonder, but just having somebody that just is a singer, with a producer or with like a sound man. We've kind of lost that disconnect. We've lost that connection, of having artists attach themselves to labels or to producers or to sound men. There's no longer that, yo, I'm an artist and everybody knows that's your artist, as well as the singer or the DJ always goes, yo, I'm a sound this, I'm a producer that. And me and Denzel White have that kind of relationship where you're going to see him on every single thing I drop, as well as his own EP coming out. And he has his own single out right now called, I'm going to mess up myself if I don't say it. But he's one of the wickedest singers you ever see. He's Guyanese, and he grew up in Queens, New York. So, Get to You is the name of the song. Denzel White, Get to You. Go look at that song on YouTube. Trust me, it's a wicked song. But he's a great artist, a great friend, great guy, great guy. He's got a great story. And if you look at any of his music, he only really does R&B. If you look at his music, you'll really fall in love with that artist, Denzel White. So I'm so glad I'm able to get these kind of artists on my rhythms at an early stage and help develop them. And then, of course, when they become mega stars, like he performed on stage with Aretha Franklin. And Aretha Franklin was like, yo, you're one of the best singers I've ever seen. I mean, he's that good a singer. And so I'm just glad that I'm able to work with these artists, just like with Chronixx. Just glad I'm able to work with these artists at such a young stage so that when they do become huge mega stars, I'm able to continue a relationship with them and continue to keep working with them and help develop them as well as they, help develop my career.
Going back, say, 10 or 15 years when popular rhythms would get released as a compilation on Greensleeves or another label, it wasn't uncommon to see 15 or even more cuts on a rhythm. But today, we just don't tend to see that many. The result of this is that we don't see as many emerging artists featured. Do producers have a duty to voice up-and-coming artists, or is it up to those artists to make producers want to voice them?
Nah, man. I think it's a producer's duty to make sure him have 1 or 3 artists our own that he can say, yo, these guys are next. And that's when I think you'll start to see the producers that are successful because they champion certain artists. I mean, every single producer that you can think of, not zero, bar none, if they are a successful producer in dancehall and reggae music, they have promoted somebody that no one has ever heard of before. 100%, not 90%, 100% of them. From Sly and Robbie to Genius, every one of them have said, yo, this artist nobody's heard of before, but I'm going to put him on the main, rhythm right next to the Cartel, right next to the Movado, right next to the Sean Paul, right next to the Shaggy. So, yeah, it's absolutely, I believe, smart. I won't say a duty, but definitely smart for a producer to do that.
One of the big name artists featured on the rhythm is Sean Paul, who over the last year or so has had a career resurgence. Let me be clear, his career was never dead, but as of late, he's collaborated with a number of artists from other genres and as a result has had many songs charting in pop charts all around the world. What do you take away from his resurgence and what does this say about him and the music business?
Sean Paul works harder than most people, and that's the first thing. he grinds. He really puts in the work. And I mean, you can't ignore the fact that these guys are successful because of their work ethic. Second of all, he is extremely open-minded to different genres of music and taking chances. So anybody that you also again see as a successful artist, Beanie Man, Shaggy, they all have been open-minded to experimenting, with different genres of music. And so Sean Paul's no different, man. I just see him, Sean Paul, with music, play basketball with, humble and just a huge talent. Like, he's just an incredible talent. And so for him to be so big in the Latin market and still be able to jump on dancehall rhythms like this, which are really just for the street. I mean, if this becomes like a Billboard hit, I would be shocked, because this is dancehall. This is a rhythm. But the fact that Sean Paul is so big, like, I don't think maybe we're even like describing how huge he is in this conversation. But for him to be as big as he is and to still be able to balance the two, do those songs as well as maintain a presence in the dance hall, maintain a presence in the Caribbean, is what I think makes him so great. And, hats off to him, man, because it's a lot of hard work, and he does it.
Another artist whose stock is high right now, who you mentioned earlier on and have worked with in the past, is Chronixx. He's the face of an Adidas line. He's now appeared on The Tonight Show twice, and he's got a very busy tour schedule. On June the 30th, he will be dropping the much anticipated debut album Chronology. What impact do you think this release will have, and what is the ceiling for Chronixx?
All right, no ceiling, obviously, no ceiling. I mean, there's no ceiling, man. Come on, what kind of question is that? There's no ceiling, man. Zero. What was the question right before that? Sorry, I got caught up in
What impact do you think Chronology will have once it is available to the public?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't like predicting the future, but I believe with the momentum that he has right now, it could be a big change in music. It could be something that goes from us being here with reggae to us being way up there with reggae. It could do so much for reggae music. It could do so much for the Caribbean. It could do so much for the people around the world that love reggae music. I mean, there really is no ceiling to what could happen with this album, and I'm hoping for that. I'm rooting for that. I'm so extremely happy and proud of Chronixx, man. And for everyone out there who's listening, if you never got a chance to listen to that mixtape that me and him did about 5 years ago, go listen to it. And if you have and you haven't listened to it in a long time, go listen to it again, man. Start a Fire is the name of the mix. It really was the beginning of Walshy Fire in this new position as producer and as curator of music versus what I used to do strictly, which was just dancehall selector. That's all I used to do. And that was the beginning of me being able to step into a new realm of which I do more now than anything else, which is making music. And Chronixx also was his first project, so proud of him. I can't wait for listening to Ting. I believe my friend Diplo has a song on it. I've heard that song; it's amazing, but I haven't heard the rest of it. But yeah, man. And then the Adidas ad, like, come on, man. That's just incredible. I mean, to be able to walk into a store, and I mean, if you've walked into Adidas stores, you see him. His face is there. The poster is there. The line of clothes are there. These are people who are from every corner of the earth walking into Adidas and seeing Chronixx, seeing Rastafarianism, seeing Jamaica, all represented, and that's just amazing, man. And time will definitely tell, what the album does. But I'm rooting for it to do big things.
You just dropped another mix, Africa Now, the second installment in the Africa is the Future mix series. What is your inspiration and goal for this particular series?
Inspiration would be Africa, no question. I've done a few tours in Africa, with as many countries in Africa as they are, you know, it's impossible to do them all in one tour. But I'm chopping away. I'm going to go back a third time this year, in October, God willing. So I've just been influenced, man. Going to Uganda was probably the biggest influence that any of us have had in Major Lazer, as well as myself solo. It was such an amazing country, such an amazing energy, and such a beautiful country. It reminded me so much of any Caribbean island, energy-wise and scenic-wise. And then going to South Africa and going to Cape Town and listening to songs like Wololo and linking with DJ Mafarisa and listening to the music that he's producing, and DJ Fresh in South Africa, listening to the stuff that he's playing, and realizing that the music that we're hearing now in mainstream is, I mean, currently right now is directly influenced from Africa. I mean, you have songs like Drake's Passion Fruit and We Should Get Together. Those songs are African, you know, those songs are South African. Really, like Get Together, that energy is unique to a lot of people in other parts of the world, but it comes directly from Africa, as well as the song that we made, Major Lazer, Run Up. That song is African. That song is Afrobeat. And you'll see that this stuff is influencing mainstream culture extremely heavily right now. It's incredible how much Afrobeat music has crossed over, and how many artists are not reaching out to do Afrobeat that have nothing to do with African music or Afrobeat, or, you know, just black music, you know, in general. Like, this is an amazing moment for Afrobeat and for Africa, and I'm glad to be able to be at the forefront of it. We dropped the Africa is the Future mixtape about 3 years ago, and that's when I began to understand what was happening. And I wanted to, of course, be the first. I love to be the first. I don't want to be the person that's coming when the wave has started. I want to create the wave. So 3 years ago, we started this Africa is the Future mixtape series. And that's 3 years ago. When I listen to it right now, and I hear that those songs on it from 3 years ago are actually still playing or are popular now, I feel really good to know that I was doing something proactively then to promote African music. And now we follow it up right after the tour. Lots of dub plates from African artists on it, which they also are being introduced to the culture because they don't know what a dub plate is, as well as the people, their fans, don't really know what a dub plate is. So introducing the dancehall culture in Africa and seeing how much they like it, because every single dub plate that we played of an African song, the place erupted because they were like, wait a minute, did he just say Walshy Fire's name in the song? Did he just say Major Lazer in the song? Did he just say where we're at in the song? Because we customized a lot of them to the dances that we were at. And so, yeah, this is just another one. This one, again, in 3 years, these songs will be popular that are on this mixtape. Well, let me not say 3 years. The way how it's moving is a lot faster. But I will end this with saying this is going to be an Afrobeat summer. This is going to be an African music summer. Afrobeat and African music are going to have the strongest looks this summer than they've ever had ever. So I expect this mixtape to be something that everyone plays all summer long, no matter where in the world they're from, as well as a lot of the African music that's already out on the radio to even get more popular. And then I actually want to end with this. I'm working on an album right now that if I get these last two songs, which I'm about to text these artists right now, I'm doing an album. The album is called Abeng. A-B-E-N-G. A-B-E-N-G. All right, look it up. It's a horn. It's how Africans communicated to each other from long distances. What I'm doing is combining African artists and Caribbean artists on an album together. So every single song has one Afrobeat artist and one Caribbean artist. So I have Alkaline, I have Runtown, I have Marshall Montano, I have Wizkid, I have Ice Prince, I have DeMarco, and I mean, the list goes on. Every single song is two artists in an original collaboration, and the album's called Abeng. All right, it's all about bridging this gap. Not to keep talking because you got me in the zone right now, but what I realize is that I've been put in a place to get the eyes and the ears and the hearts of everybody in the world. And coming from where I come from, coming from Alliance Road, Jamaica, coming from the ghetto, coming from a place of extreme nothingness, extreme poverty, like straight up nothing, okay? And understanding that the majority of the world is living exactly how I used to live. I feel accountable. I feel like it's my duty. I feel like I am in a place, and I feel like the rest of the Major Lazer guys feel the same way. We're in a place where we have to represent for these people. And this project is, in a way, my way of saying, listen, guys, we're not different. We're not different. And if you just take the moment to actually listen, you'll hear how much we sound alike, how much instruments we're using are the same, how much melodies we're using are the same. And I got a whole other story about the melody thing, which I don't want to even take up your time on, because that right there might have to go into a documentary. It actually blows my mind how many melodies from Africa are used in the Caribbean, in gospel and in dancehall music, or as in, I would say, originally from Africa, taken to the Americas, put into slave music, and then transformed through colonialism into gospel music. So the lyrics would have changed from African language melody to then Caribbean English now, or Spanish, or Creole, same melody, but a slave song. And then with colonialism, it would have then changed into, no, you can only sing about religion, and then changed into a gospel song. And to this very day, a lot of the gospel songs that we sing are African songs. And it's not until I'm able to go to Africa and listen and be like, yo, I know that song. But that song never had a bigger meaning to me. It was always a song about Jesus that my grandmother used to sing. I never connected dots back to Ghana, back to Kenya, back to Nigeria, back to these places to be like, wait a minute, these songs are coming from these places. And we're singing them because we were able to fight colonialism with things like instruments and with music, and with language. And those things come together in these songs that we now sing. And again, man, you don't want me to go there, man. Just know, when we do one day, it's a very long conversation, something I do think I should document. But Miriam Makimbe, Brenda Faso, all of these people, High Life Music from Ghana, like I'm deep into it. I'm deep into Afrobeat and deep into African music and African culture, which I consider my culture. So with all of that being said, I do want to again say this mixtape is extremely important, and it's extremely important, and that's why we called it Africa Now instead of Africa is the Future. So this is the part 2, but it's called Africa Now. It's extremely important to the movement and to everything that's happening right now in music. Africa is having the best moment in music right now. This will be an African summer, and I'm sorry I took so long to answer that.
No problem. Very interesting. Are you able to reveal any of the artist combinations from this upcoming album, and when might we see it?
Yeah, I just did. Those are some of the collaborations I just mentioned. And I believe if I can get them to Sanya, I want to actually submit this for the Grammys. I'd like to actually give this a Grammy submission. So that would mean I would have to submit it by September. So I intend to have it done before that. So I would say July, I want to have it finished. And then maybe even out in July, because I would have to submit it for a Grammy by September, for Grammy consideration.
On Stage with Major Lazer is streaming now on Hulu. It gives people an insight into some behind-the-scenes stuff from Major Lazer. I believe it was filmed in Jamaica. Talk me through the filming process and tell people why they need to check it out.
All right. Well, since that last answer was so long, I'm going to make this one real short. Basically, the VR goggles, and these guys came to Jamaica during a show that we do every year in Jamaica, which is called Major Lazer Presents, or Major Lazer Live, whatever you want to call it now. And they followed us around with these cameras that are able to take 360 shots of everything. So we went to, big up Firelinks. We went to, Fire Mondays. Went to, was it Fire Monday? I can't remember which dance. Firelinks play like 6 nights a week. I can't remember. But big up Firelinks for having us out at his event and being able to set up the cameras and get everything done at his street dance. We went to a few dances, and it came out really good. If you see it in the goggles, it's even better. But you can still go on Hulu and watch it. I went to the place where King Jammy's clashed Black Scorpio. I went to that venue, and we did some stuff at that venue. Dope. We went to King Jammy's and we brought him the Casio that he used, that had the preset of the Slang Tang Riddim, and had him walk us through what happened when he actually got that Casio, and what, how he was like, nah, I'm not, this is the rhythm, this is gonna be it. It's a very interesting piece. Voice some dubs with Junior Cat, legend, and hopefully it'll go out into the world, and dancehall people will be able to appreciate the effort. I'm the main host on it, and hopefully dancehall people will be able to appreciate me representing for them, as well as people who just go to Hulu to get entertained. Hopefully they'll be educated on dancehall culture even a little bit through this documentary. So I believe it's a wonderful thing, man. And if you guys do get a chance, please right now go to Hulu and watch it.
Walshy, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule. Great to catch up as always.
Yeah, man. Big up yourself, man. Africa is the future. Also, go get my Haitian hurricane relief hats at 8and9clothing.com. All right. Big up. This was the second run of them. The first run sold out. Haiti, we love you. Respect every time. Much love, Gibbo. Big up yourself, rude boy.
Gibbo presents